Hi, I'm Maura Lethbridge, creator of Take the Leap to Success coaching program, and I'd like to welcome you to tonight's webinar on Jumpstart Your Dream Life. So I started my business this round 3 years ago, and very interesting story, as we all have. I spent 20 years growing a business from 5 to 200 employees, and 35 million in revenue. 7 of those years I was the president and CEO, and I was really successful. In the last 2 years of that, I started to feel like it was Groundhog Day, where it was just like, oh, here we go again, here we go again, and I had all the signs of success, but I wasn't happy, and I kept thinking, what's wrong with me? I got the title, I got the money. My husband was a stay-at-home dad, and I had great kids, and I was just restless, and I was anxious, and I was making fear-based decisions. I wasn't sleeping well, and during that time period, the owner decided to put the company up for sale, which was my Harajuku moment. Harajuku moment is a phrase that was coined by Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote The Tipping Point. And it is when something necessary, so something nice to have becomes something necessary. And it was my jumping off point. And I took the leap. And I left 3 years ago. Wow. So I decided it'd been 20 years since I had taken a break. So I took the summer off, which was a huge gift and challenge for me to do. And I went down to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And I was getting some supplies at Walmart. And I walked in on a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm looking around, and there's nobody on their cell phones. There's nobody in suits looking important. And I had an anxiety attack. It was horrible. Like, I went outside and I sat down, put my head between my knees, and I said, what have I just done? And I realized at that moment that I had lost my identity, that my whole identity was tied to I am what I do, and I have to earn the air I breathe. And it was at that moment, sitting on the sidewalk, that I decided I will do whatever it takes to build a life and career of my dreams. And that's how I developed my Take the Leap to Success coaching program. So what happened? In those last 3 years, what I discovered is there's an acronym called IALAC, I-A-L-A-C. I am lovable and I'm capable. Well, somewhere along the way, I didn't get the memo on the I'm lovable and didn't believe it. And I was sure going to make it very clear to everybody that I was capable, and I moved mountain range. I mean, I was really very good at producing. But when I took this break, what I found is that I needed to work on accepting myself as I am. And the first thing that I did was I started taking yoga. I'd never taken it before. And I took, for the first 3 months, I would take a 1-hour class once a week. And for 3 months, I would cry through that yoga class because I didn't feel like I was worthy. Now, I'd taken care of my family, had grown a business, had made gobs of money, and I didn't feel like I was worthy. And my Take the Leap to Success is about building a life and career of your dreams. And there's that component for me that also I had to be completely like I'm loving, and I'm lovable, and I'm capable. So now I love yoga, and I learned how to embrace the discomfort. So the results that I got, incredible transformation. I've developed a 6-step process in helping other women take the leap to success. And here's a surprising result that I got. What I found is I just wanted to be able to accept myself, my stories, and my choices, and my body, and just be okay. And not only did I get that, I found a whole different way of being successful, because before I was, plow through, square peg round hole, get out of my way. This approach that I teach now and that I live is more of an allowing approach. And it's much gentler and it's much easier. And so I'm really excited to share a piece of my coaching program with you tonight in this Jumpstart Your Dream Life webinar. Have you ever had these challenges where you think, gosh, I should have already mastered everything, or I'm afraid of failing, or I just don't know how to do it? Well, that's where I was 3 years ago. And I'm going to teach you step by step this process, and you can apply it to your health, your relationships, and your career. So it's a repeatable process, and you can use it in all areas of your life. Okay, so tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the 5 steps to making long-lasting changes, and the 2 tools that will help you get unstuck, and the 1 technique to help you to integrate and sustain the behavior changes. Okay, so let me break some myths before we get into the content. One of the myths that I love busting is that I can't change. Now, that's a limiting belief, and the whole foundation of my program is that our thoughts and beliefs create our experiences, and by changing our thoughts and beliefs, we profoundly change our life and can have an amazing life. Most women don't even know what thoughts and beliefs are getting in their way, and so they don't even know, if they don't know how they're getting in the way, there's no way they can figure out how to undo them in order to make their lives happier. And the impact is significant because it leads to staying in crappy jobs and relationships and harming yourself, your body, compulsive behaviors, doubting yourself, and shrinking your world. And it is a myth. I can tell you that I've helped so many women make changes that they thought were impossible, and they don't believe that in the I can't change anymore. The other myth is that it has to take a long time and it has to be hard. So you'll hear me say a lot in my programs, it can be fast, easy, and fun, because it is. And it's a choice that we make. And so I will continue to bust that myth. Now, you may run into some obstacles. The biggest one is you just don't know how to do it. And we revert back to our patterns, our behaviors, and how we do things. The other one is uncertainty. We're wired for certainty. It's part of our brains from when we were first cavemen and cavewomen, and we wanted to make sure that we avoided pain of getting eaten by a dinosaur and gained pleasure by living. And so a lot of times we'd rather be unhappy than uncertain, and it's what I call redecorating hell. You know, oh, it's not that bad. I'll just put some new curtains over here and add a few new pillows. No. The uncertainty part is something that's really important to get to just accept. And another obstacle you may run into is comparing out, what I call outsideritis. And that's oh, I don't look like that. That's not me. It doesn't fit. Doesn't describe me. I'll give you an example. Last year, I went to a marketing conference in San Francisco, and there was about 750 people there, and I was so uncomfortable when I showed up going, and then I got in registration line. I completely compared out. They're weird. I don't belong here. It was a stupid idea. Well, fortunately, I live in Virginia, so I couldn't just drive home. But I realized that what I was doing was trying to get out of my discomfort. And finally, the last one is embracing your discomfort. We equate discomfort with believing we're doing something wrong, and happiness with comfort. And it's actually, discomfort is where the learning happens, and comfort is for rejuvenation. So after you have really embraced discomfort, you go to comfort for rejuvenation, like a good night's sleep or a good meal. Most common mistakes that are made in my program, perfection. Having to make the right decisions, because we control in order to feel safe, and everybody wants to feel safe. And another thing that gets in the way is avoiding discomfort. And again, the learning happens when You're uncomfortable. Yeah, sorry. So the first thing that I want you to do is to download the workbook, and I am going to pop that up there for you. I have a free guide, and you see there the Design Your or Jumpstart Your Dream Life guide, and you hit the download button, and I'll wait a minute for you to do that. Okay, I'm going to start off with a poll, and the poll is, what percentage of people are successful in keeping their New Year's resolutions? You can go ahead and vote. Is it 15%, 2%, 5%, or 8%? It's 8%. It's really low. 40 to 45 million adult Americans set at least one New Year's resolution. So that's a lot of people that are getting stuck. And here's another poll. I love this one. What do people most commonly say to themselves when they try to make change and fail? Is it, I need more willpower, I'm lazy, it was an unrealistic goal anyway, if I just had more self-discipline, all of the above, or none of the above? It's kind of obvious. Yeah. I mean, did you ever wonder what successful people do to make long-lasting changes? There's an organizational development specialist. His name is Alan Deutschman. And he asked this very question, what are people and companies doing to sustain long-lasting changes? He decided to study a group of people who were highly incentivized to make change happen. And so he studied heart bypass patients, and the statistics were shocking. 9 out of 10 did not make the changes necessary to get better. Yeah, it's pretty bad. He went on a quest to find somebody has to help these people make long-lasting changes, and he did find somebody. He found a doctor in San Francisco. In this doctor's program, and the statistics were almost opposite, 8 out of 10 heart bypass patients made lasting changes that stuck for years after leaving the program. Now think about this. These people are type A, steak-eating CEOs, and they had to make drastic changes. They had to change their diet, vegetarian, they had to meditate, do yoga. He found out the number one reason that people succeed in making long-lasting changes is through an individual or group who inspire hope and belief, who make you say, if she can do it, I can do it too. So when these folks are looking at each other and they're seeing their colleague in crime eating grass and saying, they're saying, wait a minute, if she can do it, I can do it too. The point of the story is making lasting changes has less to do with self-discipline and willpower and more with being with an individual or group who inspires hope and belief, who makes you say, if she can do it, I can do it too. And let me give you another example of the power of an individual or group. I have my Take the Leap to Success coaching program. And in one of my modules on creating empowering beliefs, I teach self-compassion, because nobody's as hard on ourselves as we are. And especially when you're making changes, one of the things that happens is the inner critic speaks up and really starts to rag on you. And what I've found that speeds up the change process is self-compassion. So there's a technique that I teach, and it's called hands on heart. And it goes like this. You put your hands on your heart and you say, I deeply and completely love and accept myself as I am. And so I taught this year to one of my coaching groups, and I got an email the next morning at 7:46, and one of the women said, okay, I know I didn't really buy into the hands-on heart exercise last night, but I practiced before bed and again this morning. I'm willing to give it a go. Thanks for a great session last night. Thanks for being willing to be vulnerable. Have a great day. The same day, that evening at 8:45 p.m., this woman wrote to all of us. So I've used the hand-on heart exercise several times today. What I found is that it was a way of setting an intention for my day to practice compassion with myself. And I have to admit, it worked. I can look back on the day and see that I was clear about choices I made throughout the day, even the ones I might have liked to do a bit differently. It's okay. I made the choice, and it was a conscious decision, not just doing it out of habit. So, hands on heart, I love myself deeply and completely, just as I am right now, along with all the choices I made today. So it's another example of, if she can do it, I can do it too. Now, the results from that one exercise, by the way, I polled all the people I've coached with it, and the common results, when they practice hands on heart, they experience a sense of security, calming of their minds, reduced their anxiety. It had a calming effect on their nervous system, and it increased their hope, courage, and loving kindness. All right, so here we go. Jumping into the content. I'm gonna do another poll. Okay. Raise your hand if you like to ask for and accept help. I'm pretty sure what we're going to experience is 100% no, because all the women that I coach and take on retreats and do workshops with, nobody likes to ask for and accept help. And it's one of the key pillars to my program, because we're really good at helping others. And the way that you speed up the shifts and transformation is by asking for and accepting help. And so I am now going to jump into the workbook, and I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to talk about asking for and accepting help. So let me put my glasses on so I can see my workbook. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, let me try again. It's good to have glasses. There it is. Okay. Sharing. There we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. So, benefits. The benefits of using these techniques and steps and tools that I'm going to teach you, besides increasing your confidence and regaining your certainty, it also allows you to live an authentic life. And what I mean by authenticity is, I define it as the degree to which you're true to yourself, your personality, character, and spirit, despite external pressures. And it also increases more hell yeah moments. And more hell yeah moments is about, if you're not saying hell yeah to opportunities and things you want to do, then say no. And I'm all about increasing hell yeah moments. Okay, so hands on heart, we have gone over. Here's the structure for the training tonight. It's a 5-step process. And in the 5 steps, we're going to go through the change curve. And the first step is connecting with others. So when I asked you the poll, do you like to ask for and accept help? And I get 100% no. This is where you want to start. Is it can be an individual, it can be a group, somebody that you feel safe with, and connecting with them. And then the other 4 steps that I'm going to walk you through, I'll go into detail, is to notice your thoughts and reactions, accept your resistance, learn through exploration, and acknowledge your commitment. And I'll go step by step through each one of these. So most people know the change that they want to make. And a way to connect with others is to introduce yourself and say, hi, my name is Maura, and the change I want to make is I want to lose 5 pounds. And so right now what I want you to do is to complete the following sentence. The change I want to make now is. Now there's 2 types of changes. There's a change we want to make, like getting a new job or starting an exercise program. And then there's changes that we're facing. That would be my husband got laid off, my child left for college. You see the difference? Some of them you're going after, and some of them are happening to you. So once you've completed that, what I want you to do is to think of somebody that you could reach out to share this with. The change I want to make now is, or the change that I'm facing. Okay, let's go over the change curve. And this is on page 6 in your workbook. We can think of change as following a change curve here. It starts with business as usual in the top left-hand corner. And it turns downward into a trough that consists of heightened stress and uncertainty, upheaval, resistance. And then acceptance starts to kick in through exploration until you climb up into commitment, where you gain, you regain your sense of direction, and you've learned a new skill and you've integrated that into your life. And the change curve consists of 4 phases, and it usually happens in sequence, but the only difference, is that the speed with which you go through it. But a lot of times people can go back and forth. You might skip one, but let me show you what mine usually looks like. Because it's not pretty, and I and other women spend a lot of time between resistance and exploration. So if I go back here to denial, and then basically in the denial phase, the reality really hasn't sunk in. And if I go to page 7 in your workbook, some things you might say in this phase is that, oh, it's not really happening to me, and I'm sure it'll blow over. And you may blame others or avoid the situation, and you may feel numb. Now, when you reach resistance, this is where you wake up from denial and you discover that the change is actually happening. And you may feel afraid or anxious or angry and experiencing uncertainty, and you may doubt your ability to change. We spend a lot of time in resistance. So my tools are about accepting resistance, but moving to exploration. The next phase is exploration, and this is where you begin to take action. And you say, okay, well, maybe this can work, and you start trying out new behaviors, and then you start to get a little energy now and feeling optimistic, and you begin to figure out the ways of, well, how can I make this happen? And then finally you get to the phase of commitment, where you've decided which actions to take, and you start mastering these new ways, and it's really powerful, and it's this is the victory dance here, as you've done it. Okay, so let me go here again. I'm going to start here. I'm going to give you a couple examples of what other women have experienced when they've done this. I had one client who had her own business, helping others in a service industry. And on the side, she painted. She's a really amazing painter. And she wanted to post her painting. She wanted to sell her painting. She wanted to post it on Facebook. And I said, yeah, well, okay, go ahead. Well, she gave me a million reasons why it wouldn't work for her. And she wanted to go back to redecorating. Oh, it's not that bad. Well, my business is okay and it supports me. And, you know, all the reasons why not to, because she was feeling really anxious. And what if she gets rejected? And so, so I finally convinced her, go ahead and put it up there. And she did. She put it on Facebook. And you know, when you're sitting on Facebook and you're waiting for the likes to come in, nothing happened. Nobody liked it. Nobody commented on it. And she just went into a shame spiral and made a really good decision. She stepped away from the computer and went over and did the dishes. And that physical moving helped her to get out of that shame spiral. When she came back to the computer and opened up Facebook, all she saw were likes and likes and likes, and she sold a painting that day. And so, of course, how did she feel? Powerful. She just thought it was the most amazing thing, but there was a lot of resistance and exploration going on until she got to that point. So here are the questions, the 5 questions that you ask to move through any kind of change quickly. The first question, the first step in this process is after you connect with others and you identify the change you want to make, you notice your thoughts and feelings. So for example, if the change I want to make, if I tell somebody I want to lose 5 pounds, I'm going to notice my thoughts and reactions. And it could be, I feel really stupid. I feel really uncomfortable telling you that. It should be something I should be able to do on myself. And the first question to ask is, with this change, am I in mortal danger? And the reason for that is to kick you into the next phase, which is resistance, because denial is denial, right? You don't know you're in there. So you can ask, all right, I want to lose 5 pounds. Am I in mortal danger in doing this? No, I'm not. Then move to phase 2, which is to accept your resistance, and you ask 2 more questions. Well, can I do this? And if the answer is yes, then I ask, am I worthy? I can tell you, every time I ask this question of women, am I worthy, I always get yes. And I have a tool coming up in a few minutes that will help flesh this out. Then moving over to exploration, how can I make this happen? And this is where you start to say, well, you know, maybe if, you know, I walk once a day for 10 minutes, I can do that. And then you acknowledge your commitment and how do I integrate it and sustain it? So this is where you're making it part of your normal routine. So step 1 is connect with others. 2 is notice your thoughts and reactions and ask, am I in mortal danger? Now let's put it all together and add a couple tools. And here, this model, the change that I'm facing now, the first thing you do is notice your thoughts and reactions once you write out the change that I'm facing. Of course, connect with another individual or group. And then you ask yourself the question, am I in mortal danger? If the answer is yes, please get help. There are situations where you need help and you need to get it. If the answer is no, then you ask the question, can I do this? So let's say the example is, I want to change jobs. And right now my boss is a jerk, or I've outgrown it, I'm bored to tears. And the question you would ask is, am I in mortal danger? No, I'm bored out of my mind and, you know, I can't do this anymore. And then I ask, can I do this? Well, if I answer no, because, you know, I have to update my resume, I haven't done that in 10 years, and I don't know the technology, and I know there's all these online things that I have no clue about, I would ask myself the question, do I need new knowledge, skills, or abilities? And I'd answer that yes, because I need help with the online stuff. I know that's where employers hire a lot of people. I know there's an easier way to get your resume done and connect and network. And then you ask the am I worthy question. And this is where you use the payoff questions. So let me talk about payoff questions. So in step 3, you accept your resistance. You ask, can I do this? Am I worthy? And you ask the payoff questions, which is the first tool in your toolbox. Now, in resistance, we have a payoff for everything that we don't want to change. And if I hold on to my story, what's my payoff? Or my belief, what's my payoff? Well, there's 4 things that you get a payoff on. Well, I don't have to change. I don't have to be personally accountable. I don't have to learn a new behavior. And I don't have to make choices. So think about it in terms of, oh, my job, I'm just bored to tears. And but I can just keep complaining because I don't want to have to learn this technology stuff because that's hard. And the question I pose is, do I want to stay stuck or do I want to have more hell yeah moments? And the purpose of this payoff tool is also to smoke out, is there a worthiness piece here? Because am I worthy of having a job that I get excited about going to every day? And it helps me push me over into exploration where I'm actually taking action. Okay, learn through exploration. This is when you ask the question, how can I make this happen? And you use the second tool, which is called bookending. Now, bookending, think of, when you think of bookending, think of actual bookends. They hold up books. Bookending is a technique that helps you complete tasks faster. And how it works is you call or email or text another person that you're committing to a task. And once you complete the task, you text, email, or call them back and tell them that you did it. And you use this when you feel stuck or you just need some reassurance or support, or you're nervous about taking an action. And the results are that when you bookend, you accomplish your tasks that you haven't been able to do on your own, and you move faster from through exploration to the commitment phase. So let me give you an example of bookending. The current group that I'm coaching has decided that the way that they want to connect with each other and ask for and accept help is through a texting group. And recently one of them posted in there a bookending. I am not putting off, this is what she said in her text, I'm not putting off one more day this action. I'm committing to having a difficult conversation with an employee. I'm anxious and afraid. And so when she did that, she had the rest of the group supporting her. We're here, we hear you. And that's the other thing about bookending, is it allows you to be heard. So after she was done, she texted the group, I did it. It was uncomfortable. I'd been avoiding it. Bookending works. What bookending does is it interrupts inertia. When you just feel like you can't do it and get up in the morning, or you want to go for a run or do something that you've been avoiding, bookending is what interrupts that inertia. Okay, now, how do we integrate and sustain this for the long haul? That's step 5. This is where you start small and build up, because a lot of the times, we come up with these, I'm gonna run 5 days a week. Well, if you want to lose 5 pounds, maybe starting small is, think of an action you take first thing in the morning. Maybe it's hitting the button on the coffee machine. And the first action you would take would be, I'm going to put on my running shoes after I do that. So there's a technique called what, why, and how. And it's a way to help you integrate and sustain new behaviors. So for example, let's say the what is, I want to notice my feelings in the denial phase. Notice your thoughts and reactions or your feelings. The why is, well, I want to identify where I am on the curve change. And how am I going to do it? Well, I'll do it first thing in the morning after my first cup of coffee, and I'm going to journal about it. What am I going to do based on the change that I wrote? Why am I doing it? And how am I going to do it? So another example is the change I want to make is I want to get a new job. And I find myself stuck in the resistance phase. And so what I want to do is I want to ask the payoff questions. And why I want to do it is to move from being stuck to making powerful choices, because I've just stayed in this current job because, it's okay. I'm just bored. And, I'd rather be unhappy than uncertain. Well, I'm tired of being unhappy and I'm choosing uncertainty. Now, how I'm going to ask the payoff questions is I'm going to journal in the morning, and I'm going to ask the 4 questions. I'm going to do it every Sunday morning because that's my quiet time, and I really am not rushed, and I feel like I can do a better job of it. And the third example is, let's say you want to start writing, and you decide that what you want to do is use bookending. And why is because you want to experience more hell yeah moments by writing. And how you plan on doing it is you're going to ask some women to go out to coffee with you, and you're going to text before and after difficult steps. So here's what you can expect when you're doing these 5 steps. The first one is, when you change behavior, your inner critic is going to start getting louder. It's normal, and you can expect it. Others in your life may make helpful, quotation marks, yet critical comments to reinforce and control your behaviors. Your beliefs are going to become clearer, and your self-awareness is going to increase. Now, what you may experience while you're doing this is you may hear this, change back, from yourself and others. Now, that's because you're rewiring a new pathway and you're releasing old behaviors, and it's uncomfortable. And that's why we look for comfort in donuts or in TV or relationships. And so you can expect the discomfort to be there, and it's kind of like walking like Frankenstein, kind of jerky. And you can also expect to feel uncertain about doing these new behaviors. So what are the next steps? You want to select the behaviors you want to practice. It could be bookending, it could be the payoff questions, it could be asking the 5 questions. Am I in mortal danger? Can I do this? Am I worthy? How do I make it happen? And how do I integrate and sustain? It could be completing the what, why, how on a daily basis. And then really important is to celebrate the successes you have. And it can be the big things, but mostly what I see is important is to celebrate the small shifts that you make. And so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to ask for help from someone else or a group. And don't try to change all at once. That's I've done that so many times. It still doesn't work. Don't try to do it perfectly or feel like you have to figure out the right decision. And you want to celebrate successes as you have them and share them with others. So this is how I make lasting changes in my life. I connect with others. I notice my thoughts and reaction, and I ask the 5 questions on the change curve. I ask the payoff tools, and I do it for others when they ask for and I accept my help. I bookend a lot. I mean, bookending is so powerful, and it helps me move faster through change and have the life I want. And finally, integrating and sustaining. Answering the question, what do I want to do? Why do I want to do it? And how am I going to do it? So I really appreciate your time this evening. And thank you for joining me for Jumpstart Your Dream Life webinar. If you have any feedback or questions, you can contact me at my email, which is moira@moiralethbridge.com. That's MOIRA at MOIRALETHBRIDGE.com. You can also look at my website, which is www.moiralethbridge.com. And I look forward to seeing you on my next webinar. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.